Yo, yo, yo! Happy Friday, everyone! Today we have a special episode on how to get a Wikipedia page with Rebecca Parson. This is going to be a great one, guys. I have never had a guest, an expert, Wikipedia expert on, so this is going to be a first. Looking forward to it myself. I see Rebecca just joining my... Let me just make sure we come on here. Rebecca, can you hear me?
Hi, yeah, I can.
Oh, yeah. Stefan. Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. If you're just tuning in, we have Rebecca Parson coming in, and we'll be talking about how to get a Wikipedia page. We're going to go through her checklist of how she gets Wikipedia pages. I actually met Rebecca in the advised community, and I've actually worked with her on a few clients, which is some great stuff. Lovely, lovely. So we're going to... did you see you got my set of questions and all that good stuff?
I did, yeah. Thank you.
All right. We
got a lot of good prep on your part.
Nice. Love it. It's going to be a great one, guys. I have a great set of questions that you can all follow along. It'll be like your complete checklist of how to get a Wikipedia page. This is her process. I mean, there's a lot of work to do, but if you want to do it yourself, you can. Or you can also hire Rebecca. All right. Let's check out who's in the live chat here. Don't be shy, guys. Be sure to say hi in the live chat. And if you guys are just, I still have a few more copies of the SEO in 2025 book. If you want a copy, if you are in the US, we have a few more copies left. Just email me at dre@seo.video, and I can get that to you next week. Rebecca, you're on the West Coast too, right?
Yeah, I'm in Seattle. How about you?
Yeah, I'm out here in Oakland, California.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I have a few friends who live in that area.
All right. Just make sure it's out here. I noticed that you also you're a politician, right?
I have run for office before and been involved in activism and stuff. Yeah,
that was cool. I was because I create videos for the intros. And I was looking. I was like, oh, I'm interviewing.
Is that the same person? Yeah.
Yeah. I was making sure. I was like, oh, this is cool. First time interviewing a politician. I love it.
Yeah, that's how I got a lot of experience in PR. Yeah,
because I saw a bunch of national coverage. You're on a bunch of news shows like all over the place. Erica.
Yeah, that and activism. So it gave me a lot of good experience, and I can use some of it in like total different arena of like SEO and business.
Yeah. Eric, my man. Hey, y'all. We got about 3 more minutes to go. If you're just tuning in, we will be talking about how to get a Wikipedia page. So we're going to go through a Wikipedia page approval. Some great tips that we will be sharing today. All right. Kenneth says, hello. Happy Friday from Latanya. Hey, Latanya. All right, we got about less than 2 more minutes to go. If you're just tuning in, we will be talking about how to get a Wikipedia page, the whole approval process of getting one, all the things you need to do. Kobe Holland. Hi, Rebecca and Dre. Hello, Kobe. So do you actually have an agency yourself, or like are you consulting with others, or just kind of doing some freelance?
Yeah, I do PR work for clients in different industries. A lot of link building through Haro, and then digital PR campaigns. I'm working on a big one right now that we'll be releasing next week, and hopefully get a lot of good links from that. So yeah, I do consulting on Wikipedia for clients directly, and then also people who run their own agencies and then have clients who are interested. So
love it. Looking forward to talking about more. Wow, from India, 1228. Is it Abu Manu? Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but welcome. Thank you for coming in, watching at 1228 your time. And Rebecca, so I'm gonna get things ready here on my side. I'm gonna put you on mute real quick, and then I'm just gonna do a quick intro, then I'll bring you right in.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, time to get it started. No delay. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre de Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO. You will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO Video Show, where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul Andre de Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released within the past week. It's about 1-minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guests, and today we have a Wikipedia expert, Rebecca Parson. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. I see Abu, Kobe, Latanya, Kenneth, Eric, Stefan. Welcome everyone. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Now let's get on with the show.
Hey Dre, why do SEOs love the farmer's market? Lots of organic content.
All right, there has not been any major news from Google this past week, or even past couple weeks, but except that you can now register for Google I/O. Go to io.google/2025. And again, so I have actually been looking for clips to share every week, and recently no one's been sharing some actionable tips online. So if you guys are out there creating videos, be sure to create some more videos that I can share out for you guys and help you promote your channel. All right, so but before we get started, here's a word from our sponsor. Did you know a press release alone isn't enough? Visibility is key. You need a multi-platform strategy to share your story across news, audio, video, and social media. Welcome to Magic PR, where your press release transforms into a powerful media experience, maximizing exposure and engagement. We distribute your release to top outlets like Yahoo Finance, Bloomberg, Business Insider, and more. Plus, your release is SEO optimized, ensuring better search rankings. But we don't stop there. We turn your press release into a podcast, distributing it across 25 platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Then, we create a social media content for Facebook, X, and Instagram, and even transform your story into a video press release for YouTube and top media sites. Video drives over 80% of higher engagement, and short-form content is king. We make viral videos for your YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and more. At Magic PR, we don't just publish, we amplify. Get your press release seen, heard, and shared everywhere. Visit magicpr.com today and take your brand to the next level. Now let's introduce our guest.
Rebecca's an expert in authority backlinks and content that converts. She has 8+ years in experience writing content across SaaS, real estate, health, and more. She's an elite Wikipedia editor and digital PR pro. She delivers premium Haro placements. Please welcome Rebecca Parson.
Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course, everyone, let's give a round of applause. All right. Everyone, I've actually met Rebecca in a community called Advise. She actually is, I've learned a few things off of her and actually worked with her on Wikipedia pages. So looking forward to getting today, looking forward to looking how we can get more of those Wikipedia pages for yourself. But before we get started, this is the first question I ask all my SEO professionals that come on here. In 1 minute or less, how does Rebecca get ranking on page 1 of Google?
Well, I was thinking about this question. I decided to skip things people probably already know and I've heard a million times that help, but they already know. And so I think one that they may not have thought of is actually building a resource that's helpful that you can put on link to from Wikipedia, meeting all of the Wikipedia policies, but then you add a backlink from that page to a page on your site that genuinely provides information. I have actually seen that help a page go up. One of my clients, for example, is a very competitive, like niche, high buyer intent keyword and was able to go up in the rankings from lower on the first page up to higher on the first page.
Oh, love that. Love that. First knowledge bomb of today. Hold on. Let's rewind this real quick. Hold on. Take us way back, 8+ years ago. How'd you first get into SEO?
I first, before I've been working online in some form or another for about 10 or 15 years. Before that, I was doing direct response copywriting. And then I started getting interested in affiliate marketing. And that's when I looked into the different ways of making money with affiliate. I looked into either ads or SEO, basically. I was more interested in SEO. So took a course from Authority Hacker, which I think they recently closed it down because basically the model doesn't work anymore. But I took their course back when it was still working and learned a lot from them. And that's how I first got into SEO.
Love that. Love that. So, okay. So what made you actually interested in SEO? I mean, you could have kept on going, doing more copywriting. You could possibly went to like paid search or social. Why SEO?
I really like the idea of free traffic. I mean, everybody does, but it's, how can you make sure that your website shows up when people are searching for something and have a channel for making money, getting more customers and clients into your business that you don't have to pay for? Because I have also done, the paid ad route. And even when you have a really good funnel and lots of email follow-up, you're still always kind of feeding the machine, buying ads. So what's another way that you can get some traffic that's actually free?
Love that. Love it. So now fast forward to today. If you learned it and now you're making money with SEO, so kind of guide us through your journey of how you started monetizing, SEO.
Well, I first got interested with the SEO affiliate website model, and that course that I took really helped. It taught me the SEO fundamentals. But by the time I had a couple sites built is when that was really starting to not work anymore and becoming much, much more competitive. And so I started looking into what are other things going on with SEO, how are people like niche site owners adapting? And I kind of went into different things that were mentioned in the course as a way to boost your authority site or your niche site, but instead just going into that side of SEO. So like digital PR and Haro, help a reporter out, or now quoted, now that Haro's gone. Actually, though I heard it's coming back, but yeah, Haro links and digital PR, answering reporter queries, consulting with people who qualify for Wikipedia pages, that kind of thing. And that's really what I've been focusing on recently.
Love it. Love it. So I'm curious, how'd you get into the niche of making Wikipedia pages? I mean, out of all the over 200 people I've interviewed on here, I have not interviewed someone that has actually worked on Wikipedia pages or getting Wikipedia pages for their clients. So how'd you actually get into Wikipedia?
Well, I started seeing in different online communities people talking about how their clients wanted a page and they had tried, it hadn't worked. And I have an academic writing background and I did technical writing for a long time before I got into online marketing. And so I thought I could help. I made a Wikipedia account and, familiarized myself with a lot of the basic policies, did some editing. And I started also looking at pages that had been deleted or times people were trying to, add links, that kind of thing, stuff that wasn't working and why it didn't work and where they may have violated the policies or, gotten on a Wikipedia editor's bad side, something like that. And I could see that people were having trouble with it, and that I could see where the problems were, and I could actually help with it.
Interesting. So when you say policies, are there like, is there like a published page of all these policies that people can go to and kind of look at as well?
Yeah, there are. There's if you look up, if you Google Wikipedia Notability,
Okay.
that's the biggest one and the biggest thing people run into when they are trying to get a Wikipedia page. And so you can go there and see like what does Wikipedia consider notable? What criteria do you have to meet? And it's still open to interpretation, and it's not a perfect system. And so you might see pages that are like, how does this meet the Wikipedia policies? You know, there are definitely pages that don't, and they're up, and then maybe a new page tries to go up and fully meets it and doesn't. So it's not totally consistent, but you can look and see the policies. Another thing you can do is Google Wikipedia deprecated sources, and you'll see all the sources that are not allowed on Wikipedia.
Interesting. All right, now this takes us to our topic of today. So I kind of broke down some of your own strategy and kind of like formed into like asking more questions and go deeper on it. So like one of the things that you mentioned is like you said that creating a Wikipedia page that sticks takes at least a year of media work. What is that about?
Yeah, so there are exceptions, or you might be able to see a page go up and they didn't do that work ahead of time. But in general, like when I'm advising people, consulting who want a Wikipedia page, I'm trying to give them like a best chance possible of it actually sticking. And the way I've seen that work is to have at least a year of media coverage behind the subject of the article before you try to publish. And the reason for that is that Wikipedia wants what it calls sustained coverage. So it doesn't want a one-off event. So outside of business examples, for example, if there was an earthquake in one location that didn't get a lot of news, it was just mentioned kind of for one day, this earthquake, and then was never mentioned again. Like that wouldn't qualify for a Wikipedia page. But if it was an earthquake, caused a bunch of damage, and lots of articles about it afterwards, then it would have sustained coverage. And so if you apply that to a business, if there's just a brief blip about a person or a business, that's not considered a brief blip of media coverage. That's not considered sustained. They want to, thinking of it as an encyclopedia. Is it noteworthy? Is it notable enough to be on an encyclopedia? And that year guideline that I have is not a Wikipedia policy. It's just a good rule of thumb. So
Got it.
if you have at least that much, you're not that likely for another editor to come along and say that you're not notable enough.
Got it. So that kind of takes me to my next question. Like, so like, I was gonna say like, why would it take that long? But that's more subjective on your part. But I mean, I'm curious, like, what happens if someone, is there also signals, like say if someone got so much news coverage within a few months, can they still, get that Wikipedia page, or what have you seen? Is there like a shortcut to the process?
It's a bit less likely if there's just a few months of coverage.
Okay.
Because they are more like other editors looking at the page are more likely to say, oh, this is just a one-off event. And one thing Wikipedia policies and editors like to say is that it's not a news site. It's an encyclopedia of knowledge. And so what they mean by it not being a news site is like, let's say tech startup got some funding, and there was a bunch of coverage at the time, like they got this series round of funding, all the money they got, but then there was never anything else about them. And that's really they would consider more of a news item, not something that belongs in an encyclopedia.
Excellent.
All right. So let's kind of like lay this out for the audience out there. So can you kind of walk us through what type of media works and means like in this context, media work?
Yeah, in terms of media work, it would be things like one thing you could do is Google if it's about a person, like other people like that person who do a similar thing, or other companies, competitors, and see what media coverage they have and start to just categorize the articles. So, and it helps, especially if they already have a Wikipedia page, then you can go look at all their references, go to those references, read them, be like, okay, they have one story where it's like founder spotlight, and this is how and why they started the company, or different types of coverage. Then you can go look at the journalists and see what beat they cover, and beat meaning like what topic. So they cover tech companies, or do they cover entrepreneurs or female entrepreneurs or whatever. And then you can start to pitch journalists on some very similar stories, but about you or your client instead of the competitors whose news articles you saw. If that makes sense. And the way you pitch is like you just find the journalist's article and you write up like maybe a brief paragraph and, hey, I've got this client or this person, or about yourself, and pitch a story basically in one very short, very briefly. Just email them individually and pitch them on a story.
Love that. Okay, so I'm curious, like now, like when people think, because you're talking about like not notable enough, or if people thinks that they're notable enough, like what are some like misconceptions of other things? I know you said like there's some things are not considered notable, but people may think they're notable. Like what are the misconceptions here?
Yeah, one is people thinking, for example, there was a YouTuber who thought he qualified for a Wikipedia page because he has a lot of followers, a lot of views, and is very, very well known. It's not anybody in the advised communities. It's just, but well known within his niche. And I had, watched tons of his videos for a topic I was learning about. And the problem is, like, I would consider that notable. Like, if I was in charge of Wikipedia, which obviously I'm not, but if I were, I'd be like, yeah, he's notable because tons and tons of people are learning about this topic and starting businesses and stuff based on what he's teaching them. And so he's very notable in that area. But in terms of Wikipedia, he would not be considered notable because he doesn't have enough media coverage. So like social media and stats, like followers and views, and then also YouTube views, that doesn't matter at all for like, and you literally can't link to YouTube or Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Like you can't even use those as sources on Wikipedia. So then trying to use any figures from those sites, well, I have 1 million followers, like that's not considered notable in Wikipedia's book, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you consider how much of our lives are spent on different social media platforms and YouTube, and like how much big YouTube channels can have a huge impact on people's lives if they're learning about business or money or something, but it just doesn't count for Wikipedia. Got it. I love that. Okay, so I want to go, you recommend like 10 sources, right? 10 or more sources. It's kind of like, it's which is something that you kind of recommend. I mean, like why is this volume and variety of sources like so important? Like, and also, can you kind of mention some other sources that we can start thinking about? Yeah, it's important to have, and 10 is a number that I just use as a rule of thumb, but that's also not a Wikipedia policy. And you can find pages on Wikipedia with a lot fewer sources and then others with a lot more. But 10 is a good rule of thumb. And I say from 10 different sites because you don't want to have 10 articles from 2 different sites. That's not really enough. You want to have a variety of sources. And the reasons are, it helps show your notability because not just one website or one media outlet thought that you were important enough to write about. It was a bunch of different ones. And then also, if they're media outlets like newspapers or online magazines, stuff like that, then you went through the editorial process for all these different places. And so that also shows that you're notable. And what you're trying to prove to Wikipedia, like editors or anybody looking at the page, is third-party sources provided information about you and wrote about you. So the more you have, the better, but 10 is a good rule of thumb. Got it. So we have a comment here from Eric. It's just like referring domains. I mean, it's like, I guess. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Got it. So I actually kind of want to bring up a case study with a project that you and I were working on, because I was curious, like we did have a decent amount of sources, right?
and we had the page up, and then I'm curious, like what kind of went wrong there, like for like the page to not get accepted after a while. And I'm curious, like, how does it happen? Because I mean, we have some pages that stayed up, and I never saw that little warning thing. And then there's some pages that we saw warnings. Like, what triggers those things? I'm curious, like maybe with the two different pages that we worked on, I'm curious, like, what are the difference between the two, and why was one kind of like accepted and why was not one was not?
Well, it's so it depends on like most pages go, when they're published, they go onto a list of new pages to be reviewed by a type of editor called a new page patroller, and that's just what they do.
Okay.
And so they go through and they say this, basically sign off on it, or they don't sign off on it. And then if they think it should be deleted, that's when they suggest, they propose it for deletion, and then there's about 7 days of discussion. And then there's a decision whether to delete it or not by an administrator. And I really thought that that company had plenty of media coverage, especially in the country that the business is located in. Was covered by several different newspapers of record for that country. And this is where like the inconsistency and subjectivity of Wikipedia comes in, because somebody proposed it for deletion, somebody else came in really guns blazing and went through and like nitpicked every little thing about every little article, and then I would respond, or other people would respond, and then they would kind of ignore and then just continue to nitpick, and that's just kind of where that inconsistency comes in. So I think some of the sources there were, so Wikipedia wants third-party or third-person coverage. Like they don't want press releases, for example, because press releases are written by a person or company and put out, so those don't count. Also interviews. If you interview a founder, even if it's in a great publication, that's first person knowledge. So they want something that somebody else has come up with, if that makes sense. So if the interview had a note at the top being like, this founder made a bunch of revenue claims and we actually looked at their statements, internal statements, and verified that those claims are true, then it would be okay. But if it's just somebody talking, that's still a primary source.
Got it.
And where you get into trouble with some things where it's like it's not a press release, it's not an interview, but there's language in there that just kind of strikes another Wikipedia editor as being sounding too much like PR or being PR fluff, even if it was written by a third person, like an independent journalist on an independent site. And so I think that's what happened with that page was some of what was in the articles just didn't sound enough like third-party journalism to them.
Got it.
And so one tip I have that's actually maybe a bit counterintuitive is when you're trying to go out and get media sources or coverage for a client or somebody yourself, you want to have a Wikipedia page. It can be good to have stuff that's critical, because that's what real journalism, it would include stuff that's critical. It wouldn't be an article all about this company and how great it is and all the wonderful stuff it's doing. It might say, for example, hey, in 2020, they said that they were predicting they were going to hire this many employees or reach this revenue or open this many offices, but then they didn't. So what went wrong? And then the article could say, well, the COVID pandemic really affected it or whatever. And then the reporter could even say something like, they weren't totally satisfied with that explanation. They're not sure why. So even if you read it, just not like great coverage, it could even be a bit critical. That could actually help for a Wikipedia page because it's more well-rounded and it doesn't just like feel like PR to another editor looking at it.
Got it. Love that. Love that. We have, I can't read your names, sorry, brother. This is greetings from Greece, Rebecca and Dre. And, if you guys have any questions, feel free to go ahead and interrupt us anytime while I go down through my questions. But go ahead and ask your questions if you have any questions while we're going through this. But so I'm curious when you Giannis, hello Giannis. Okay, so when you talk about like getting like this PR coverage and not necessarily press releases. So like I think one of the one of the ways that we can kind of maybe speed up the process of getting a page is doing a digital PR campaign then, because a digital PR campaign is not necessarily a press release, but it's creating news stories. Can you kind of maybe explain how that works, can possibly tie in with getting this Wikipedia page going?
Yeah, so if you did a digital PR campaign and you designed it in a way where you or the company would be a significant part of the article, then that could be great for a Wikipedia page. If you scrape a bunch of data and it's like, we surveyed 1,000 people about what they hate about their mattresses, and then there were a bunch of articles about it, and it was like, XYZ Sleep Company did this survey, but that's the only mention of you in the entire article, then that wouldn't help with your Wikipedia page, because the sources have to be primarily about you. It can't be what Wikipedia calls a passing mention. But if you did a digital PR campaign that somehow like you managed to make yourself the story, yourself or the company, and then a bunch of outlets like wrote about it, then that would definitely help.
Love that. Can you give us maybe some examples or maybe some sample stories that we can possibly kind of like come up with that you've seen that work that was able to kind of get us get you so a Wikipedia page that you're able to probably have you've done this before, right? You've actually probably created like a digital PR campaign for a client, and then you're able to get enough mentions to actually mention or source in Wikipedia, and they were actually to get a page, right? That's one of your processes. Yeah. So I'm curious, like what are
so you could look at things, like newsjacking that people talk about in digital PR, where there's something trending in the news or on social media, and you find a way it relates to yourself or the company, and then you could go out and individually reach out to journalists and say, maybe there's something happening in the city, like Seattle, where I live, they just opened a waterfront park, and it's been like years and years and years in the making. And so then maybe there would be an article about some Seattle like realtor who played a part in that, or how a small like individual retail store owner whose business totally changed because of it, or find things like that are going on that you can kind of attach yourself to in terms of the trend, and then pitch a journalist on it. That helps a lot. And then had another example that just left my head, but for companies that are more like not tied to a location, like remotely run, you can start kind of leapfrogging onto national trends. So for example, I have a client who's a federal employment attorney, and there's a lot in the news about like US federal employees. And so you can like, if I was going to try to get him a Wikipedia page, then I would start pitching individual reporters, be like, what it's like to be the lawyer representing all these federal employees, or like, and then the headline would be something like, I talked to a federal employment lawyer. These are the top 7 things people are talking about, like federal employees, right? And then it kind of ties in with at least a couple months ago that was in the news a lot, but then you make it about the person. Does that help? Or
so actually
can be hard to put into like a little package, but I hope that helps.
No, this helps. So that brings me to my next question, like on like you said top lists, like I mean, so those like being mentioned in top 10 lists or top 7 lists, does that help that type of like coverage help with Wikipedia pages?
No, because it's considered a passing mention. So if you're in the top 10, then that means the article mentions 9 other companies, and so you're just one of 10. The article's not about you. The text is kind of blurry for me, but I see somebody's question like, how would you do a PR campaign for a Atlanta, Georgia plumber?
Athens, Georgia's plumber. Most of the companies are boring moms and pops and mom companies. So I'm curious, like how would you do maybe for like a local company? How would you do a PR campaign for a local company?
For that one, I'd want to be looking at local media. So for that town and that state, and then find ways to do things like find things a plumber can do that the news would want to write about. So an example could be the plumber decided to take on 2 free plumbing projects a month or something for a certain neighborhood that really needs it. Or maybe there's something in the news about how one of the local schools, like half the toilets are broken. So this plumber got a couple of his friends, like from the plumbing field. They went in and they just fixed 5 of them for free. Then a local newspaper would be pretty likely to cover that. And so, unfortunately, in terms of like a campaign, it's not as easy as with a digital PR campaign where you can like scrape a bunch of data and get a bunch of articles written, like, and it all kind of stays in the online sphere. Like for local brick and mortar business, they probably need to do something in the brick and mortar world, like their actual physical world, that would make the local news want to write about them. But then let's say they had just 1 or 2 articles, like maybe they had 2 articles written about like fixing toilets in that school, and then 1 or 2 written about this other thing where they do 1 free project a month. Like you want to make sure that a journalist at the newspaper is writing it. Like you're not just putting out a press release that you're doing this, because then you can't use the press release. But then also you need to continue doing stuff so that when you try to get a Wikipedia page, it's not just that you did this plumber did like a couple projects and they had a couple articles written about them. It's more like they had 15 articles written at 10 different, state and local sites over the period of a year.
Got it.
So it's pretty involved.
So so I want to. How would you do that for like say a local journalist? So like let's say I'm that plumber. Do I just hit up the journalist and say, hey, I'm doing this? Or isn't that like kind of like just? How do you actually pitch a journalist if you were a local company? You just create a press release and then send it to them, or do you just email them, hey, I'm doing this for the community, write about me? Why would they?
Yeah, well, it can be helpful to just think of the fact that like they have deadlines, like they are quotas basically, whether officially or unofficially, but like they're under constant pressure to be putting out stories. And so in a way, if you pitch them on something and they take it, you're doing them a favor because that was a story that they didn't have to come up with themselves. And you're basically like handing over their work to them. And so you could say, I'm I'm fixing toilets in this school. I know it's been in the news a lot. Just wanted to flag, bring this to your attention, and I'd be happy to do like a quick interview sometime if you want to write about it. I know it's a really big issue in the community, and find some way to tie it in. So, most journalists get a lot of pitches, but basically, like I'm a member of the community, I'm a plumber, I'm doing this. It really bothered me to see that these kids were having to deal with this problem. And just let me know if you want to cover it. I'd be happy to do an interview, or you could even come out with us to the site or something like that. And you can do it on social media, like on X, or find their profile like on Facebook, or track down their email, just email them. But yeah, most journalists like receiving pitches. They have to write a lot. So if somebody else gives them an idea, that's good.
Got it. So like, okay, sticking to this example here. So like, say they keep on doing that for 6 months or so. Like, so are they? So the story will be about them just about doing that the whole time. Does that matter? Or like, even it's the same thing that they're doing, and just to get more stories written about them because they're doing it. Is that, I don't see any variety there, but like, how does that work?
Yeah, it would definitely be good to have some variety. Other things you can do because you also want to show, especially if it's just regionally located and you're not being covered in national papers, like it's still, you're definitely still notable if you only have regional significance. Like you can still get, according to Wikipedia, still notable, but it's a little bit tougher than if you're getting covered nationally. So it does help to be covered for different things. So maybe different types of projects, or that plumber could there's a locally in pretty much every, like in the US at least, every town, city, county, state, there's like commissions and boards and stuff. Like they could maybe join like a volunteer commission on join the Chamber of Commerce and maybe do some free seminars, educational seminars, like how to get started with your brick and mortar business, or they could kind of contact some local schools and be like, are any of yours, maybe do some free presentations for high school students who are thinking about going into the trades. How would you go into the trades instead of going to college or community college? And it's kind of funny because we're talking about like PR, Wikipedia, but this is all like in-person local stuff. But that's what it is. You're basically like trying to make yourself notable in Wikipedia's eyes by doing these notable things that would then be written about.
Love it. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, so let's get into like some people like to argue like, well, this other page exists and it's weaker than mine. Why does that argument like not that hold up? Because I mean, there are pages that are just like horrible or like really, really bare. I would see like they'd be there. And like I was just comparing other pages to like the one page we were working. I was like, man, this one is like nothing, and we have all this. And I didn't understand. Yeah, why is that? Why does it happen? And I mean, is there like also like Wikipedia politics in there where people are just like hating on each other? Like how's that? What's going on there?
Yeah, there's definitely Wikipedia politics, and like some editor will just get a bee in their bonnet and they don't like it. And like there was one editor who's going really hard on that one page we were working on who's like from that country. I kind of wondered if he had been like hired by somebody. It was like, because it was just so bizarre, the comments he was making, like this company had been covered in like a major newspaper in that country, and there was some like entrepreneur who was going around and like interviewing local business owners all over the country. And this editor was like, well, that person's not a reporter, they're a TV personality who went around doing interviews and talking and then writing articles for this paper, but they're not a journalist. And it's like, well, that's not Wikipedia policy. There's no like central governing authority of like, you're a journalist, you're not a journalist. And like it was it would be like being it would be like if some like I'm trying to remember the name, but now I can't, but like some kind of like entrepreneur reality show. Like the host of an entrepreneur reality show was like, I went and talked to an entrepreneur in every state and then wrote a bunch of articles for the New York Times and was like, this guy weathered the pandemic by doing this and this person did that. And they're not interviews, it's third person, but it's that level where it's like in the New York Times, and how is that not valid? That's where the kind of politics comes in. And it can be hard also to get pages for like a topic or a person that if somebody else comes across it and they just don't like that field or they don't like the profession they're in. Like if that makes sense. So there's definitely politics as part of it. And then in terms of like other pages not being just really crappy compared to newer ones that are not getting approved. The reason for that is like the Wikipedia policies used to be much more lax and also not enforced really. So there are pages written 10 plus years ago that are very, very thin and they would never pass muster today. But because the standards are now so much higher, it's harder, and there's no project to like, there's no kind of big active effort to maintain internal consistency in the Wikipedia project. And you can't use that as an argument in a deletion discussion. Like the policy is that every page should stand on its own merits. And it doesn't matter if there's a page over there about the exact same type of person or company that only has 2 sources and your page has 20. Why is that one up and this one isn't? That kind of argument doesn't really work.
Got it.
Even though it's not fair.
It's interesting when we were kind of watching from behind, like you can see like all the edits, right? And the reasoning. And then I was kind of going with the client and they're like, what are they talking about? Like, and then they noticed that one was also from that same country, and they're like, "Who is this person?" That's kind of like they're pretty much hating on the company. It was a trip to see that. But you did mention that because they were asking like, okay, it got deleted, but you said like maybe like 6 months from now, later on when they get more mentions, we can try again, and they can possibly get that Wikipedia page back up. Is that like the case? Have you been able to do that before?
Yeah, that's definitely something you can do. And it is harder the second time, like if a page has already been deleted, like it's probably going to get a little more scrutiny. And so I think maybe this is something we talk about later, but like if you're going to do it yourself, try to just like get it as many sources as strong as you possibly can. Like get other people to look at it and tell you like, hey, this kind of comes off a little bit, subjective. This sounds a bit too like PR or marketing. See if you can make it more objective, because the first shot is your best shot. And then after that, if a page has been deleted and you try again, it's going to get more scrutiny. Yeah.
So is there a history? Will there be a history then? Like if we try to like bring it back up, it'll show a history of like, oh, this was the page that was trying to get revived, or
it's hard to find. Like it won't be easy to see like on that page, but if you know Wikipedia, and you can start looking and searching, and you can find like the old discussion. Basically everything lasts on Wikipedia, like any edit, any discussion, any comment, you can always find it in one way or another.
Got it. Okay, so speaking of deletions, I mean, are there any other things that like right off the bat, like if someone was did a common mistake that will instantly put a page into deletion? What are some things that you're seeing out there that are actually triggering this?
Putting it in press releases, automatically, they won't like that. Linking to reviews. So even if it's a good review, you might think this is all Wikipedia. I'm not saying it necessarily makes sense outside of Wikipedia. If I were like, okay, I have this company and got this great review, or they chose like the top 3 productivity apps and I'm one of them, like, doesn't that prove that I'm notable? Especially if it's a major site like Tom's Guides or something. Unfortunately, no, that wouldn't count. And so you don't want to put in reviews or press releases. It can help to think of it in terms of PR type of words. So if there's any article about the company or person that says announces, then you're like, X company announced this today. So even if it's not a press release, and then like a different outlet writes about it, X company productivity app announced today that they are launching their new AI platform. That's not a press release. Like it's on another website and a journalist wrote it, but it just kind of has the feel of PR.
Oh, so something like that still is not great. And so if someone wrote, a company released a PR, and then a reporter saw it and wrote a story about that PR, that still is not okay. Got it. No. All right. Okay. So I mean, let's put like a quick strategy in place for everyone out there. So if they know they want to get a Wikipedia page about a year from now, what would be like your go-to strategy to kind of just get it going that you've done that has been proven to work?
I'd say probably 2 different strategies depending on what situation you're dealing with. There are some people who like all they need is media to be written about what they've already done. And you could say a media that Wikipedia accepts. And so maybe this person is like obviously very notable, like they're a type of lawyer that works with celebrities or something. Right? You would think that would be notable, but if they haven't had anything written about them, it won't fly on Wikipedia. So that person, in that case, you want to just start pitching find the journalists who write about that kind of thing, like celebrities' legal troubles, and then be like, my client actually has this, carved out this interesting niche where he works with celebrities having this particular type of legal trouble, and start to pitch people on that, on basically like notability that already exists. And so in that case, you can just kind of go search for articles written about competitors and pitch journalists on similar articles, but to write them about you instead.
From competitors. Okay.
Then, if you don't have the notability already, then it's different because you want to start creating that notability. And so for especially like people watching this, probably working with like local business owners, is getting them to do things like volunteer projects or like donating a big scholarship to $10,000 for one like high school kid to go to the local community college, joining commissions, like doing stuff locally to start generating press for themselves.
Got it. I like that. I think this could be a course that you can build, like how to build notability, right? Because I mean, if it actually can work. I mean, it's not necessarily like not necessarily just to get a Wikipedia page, but it could work for so many other things, right? Like especially if you're gonna go, like in some cases, like your cases, you built notability and were able to get into like run for Congress or for like as a politician. Like I think that's what I mentioned. Like because when I think of politicians, like, man, they must be really, really notable, right? Because you're out there in front of the public, and people have to know who you are, and that's very, very interesting. And I think that's I would love to even kind of do a little more research on that, on like how to build notability. That can really, really help any business. Yeah.
And I think it helps too if you think about it, especially for local businesses, in terms of like maybe these are all kind of good ways to generate leads anyway. They might just happen to be a bit old school. So, which actually can work for local businesses. Like they might actually be more open to those methods than what you're trying to get them to do with digital PR. It can kind of be hard sometimes. So if you're saying, hey, actually these old school lead gen methods that could get you clients could also help you build Wikipedia notability. Like if you start giving free presentations at the Chamber of Commerce and the local high school, local community college, that could get you some leads in the short term, but it could also help you build Wikipedia notability.
Got it. Love it. Guys, I'm coming down to my last couple questions here. So if you have any questions, ask them in the live chat because we're coming close to time here. But I have a quick question that I didn't add to the agenda, our agenda here. But one of the things is like, what's the deal with like Wikidata? Is that all part of the Wikipedia thing? Like, can people use Wikidata for some places to help maybe the Wikipedia page, or is that a totally separate organization? Like, I've heard a lot about Wikidata.
I'm not really sure what it is or if it's owned by the same overall foundation, but what I've noticed is that there's a lot of listings online for people who are like, I'll make a page for you on, there's so many sites that have wiki in them, like wikimouse.org or like wikicouch or wikibs.com or whatever. And like, I'll do that for $10. And I think the idea is that like, maybe if I get enough of these totally random pages on these totally random sites that all have wiki in the name, that'll somehow make me more likely to get a Wikipedia page, but it doesn't. Like, I've never seen that be a thing. And so I'm not really sure. Wikidata might be related to Wikipedia. I'm not sure. There is like the Wikimedia, and I think that is under the same umbrella. And when you upload like an image, a profile picture or the logo of the company to that site, then you use it on the actual Wikipedia, like as the image on the page. But then there's a lot of these just like random wiki sites that I don't think are related at all. Got it.
Okay, I didn't see any questions coming in from the live audience here, so I want to ask my last question that I asked all my SEO professionals to come on here. If someone wanted to become an SEO professional themselves, get into the SEO industry, what would your advice be to them?
Just pick a project that you want to work on and you think could make you money in the next year, and start Googling. That's what I did. Start Googling and watching YouTube videos about how to accomplish that project with SEO.
Love it. Okay. And for this episode to feel complete for you, how can people get a hold of you if they want to, like, if they found this too extensive for them to do themselves? How can they get you to help them out and get a Wikipedia page? Please share your info.
They can Google my name plus legit, LEGIIT, or Wikipedia and legit, and then that's a freelance platform. I'll come up on there, or they can just contact me, Rebecca@linefuse.com. And I'm happy to tell people if I think a Wikipedia page would work for them or not, and if it wouldn't, like what they need to do to help, because it is kind of complicated, and I wouldn't want somebody to go out and like pay somebody to make a page or something. And it can be a big investment. So I'd be happy to tell people if I think they have a good shot or not.
Yeah, and I could vouch for Rebecca. So like, I actually upsell Wikipedia pages to my clients, and if like, I'll ask Rebecca first and say, hey, are they a possibility to get it? Sometimes it'll be no, sometimes it'll be yes. So it's good to even check in with her if you want to get your own first before you start doing anything. She has, just contact her. She's very responsive. So get that going. And so everyone, let's give a round of applause. Thank you, Rebecca. All right. Can you hold on for one quick second? Hold on for one quick second while I sign off here. Hold on. All right, guys. That concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And don't forget to visit our sponsor, magicpr.com. Use SEO Show for your discount for 10% off. Yeah, 10% off. SEO Show. Go to magicpr.com. And till next time, I will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, cause the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show, let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre de Vera helping you step it up. No delay right now, time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe.